Okay, it's rolling.
Yeah. Awesome. So hello everyone, this is Adam, my name is Steven, and today we're going to be presenting on time management. Specifically, Adam and I will be overviewing the basic fundamentals of time management, showcasing why using time management skills can be so effective in your personal and professional lives, as well as look at the best tips and tricks that we found while researching this topic. Throughout our presentation, we'll be referencing both academic and non-academic sources to give everybody both a theoretical and a practical understanding of time management. We will also conduct a brief activity to see some of the challenges everyone in this room faces while attempting to effectively manage your time, and provide you with a handout that you can hopefully use after today's presentation to reference in future when you're trying to manage your time effectively. Adam will now begin the presentation by looking at what time management as a concept is.
Well, firstly we need to define what the time management is. According to Brian Tracy, who wrote the book Time Management, he described this as a process of organizing and planning your tasks and how you divide your time among these tasks. Also, it helps organizing your time and how long you spend on each particular activity. Good time management enables you to work smarter, not harder, and you can even get more tasks done in a stress environment using time management techniques. And bad time management obviously damages you in your effectiveness and causes stress. Time management also involves strategic thinking. Effective time management means that you being strategic in how about things, and you are taking control over them. You are being proactive, and you are not just waiting for the things come as they are. You are just planning them in advance and planning your future in order to use your time more effective. The goal of time management is obviously to successfully accomplish all tasks you want to do in a day or in a week. Steven will talk about different types of time management techniques and different types, and but now we will go through the why time management is important. As everyone probably knows, time management is very important for our lives. While most people agree for this, none of them are doing it, and there are several benefits of time management, including increased productivity and efficiency. This is done by planning in advance and what you have to do with tasks you need to complete and at what time, and on which task you have to focus first. You also become less stressed because instead of not really knowing what you need to accomplish during the day, you have everything planned in advance, and you are becoming relaxed and less stressful. And also this enables you to don't miss any important deadlines, and you feel confident and more responsible. Also, using time management technique is also good for being promoted in a workplace. It helps you stand out from the rest of your colleagues or coworkers and show the boss that you can effectively plan the tasks and do something more. Also, it helps creating time for your personal life, like for family, friends, and your hobbies. If you manage your time properly, you can do these things, and if not, you don't have really time for it, and you're forced to miss those things, and because you don't have the time. Also, time management, it reflects professionalism because of if you know how to manage your work, your time at work, you also know how to manage your time in personal life, and it makes you more confident and more positive person, and you not forget things what are around you. Now let's look at the consequences of poor time management. It's basically the opposite of what I said, but let's go through it. Well, the first one is the higher stress level. Well, if you don't know what to do, you become stressed and you're jumping from task to task, and at the end of the day, you didn't finish anything, and you are missing deadlines. Also, poor work quality. If you don't use it, you are just you are like the rest of coworkers that are not managing the time management properly, and you are missing the options to be promoted in work. Also, you're becoming inefficient. Because you jump from activity to activity, and you miss deadlines, and it causes problems in your professional and personal life, and yeah, you're missing also professional opportunities, as I said.
Awesome. So when many people think of time management, what they often think of is somebody sitting in a closed office just trying to cram out as much work as they possibly can before they leave for the end of the day. But as Adam has already pointed out, the reality is that time management skills are important for every aspect of your life, not only your professional life, but also your personal and private lives as well. Professional time management relates to our ability to manage all the tasks that we have in a work setting. These are the things that we have to do in order to complete our job successfully. In the Journal of Library Administration, author Maggie Farrell published an article titled Time Management, in which she wrote that professional time management is, quote, an essential component of leadership. This was further substantiated through the numerous articles, videos, websites, and other types of reviewing that we did while researching this topic. Personal time management, on the other hand, relates to the ability to manage all the appointments, commitments, and other general tasks that we each need to do in our own personal lives. These range from things like simply getting groceries, to going to the bank, or even just taking the time to relax and unwind after a hard day at work. Finally, our private lives also require time management skills as well. Relationships, friendships, and each of the other things that we each independently do outside of the public setting are important to all of us, and if we do not manage our time management skills effectively, our work-life balance will be thrown out of whack. So now we're going to do a brief activity. So what I'll ask is for everybody to pull out a piece of paper. If you don't have one, Adam can hand one out right now. And we want you to write two things down. We're going to give you a minute to do so. The first one is to try to write two examples of things that limit your ability to manage your time effectively. And then the second thing that we want you to write down, two examples for this as well, is whether or not you use any time management strategies. So if you do use any strategies, if you don't, that's okay. You can just leave it blank. Just let us know. And we've got the clock right here, so we'll give you a minute to do so. Paper as well?
Yeah, please.
The topics are on the screen again if you need a refresher. Ten seconds. All right, so who has the first example of something that limits your ability to manage time?
I have an example that it's like a general one, but I can use some personal example. It's some kind of inability to be sufficiently disciplined, because in my life of course that I have some other activities, so as you said, this types private, personal and professional, but still there is enough time to be able to finish everything. And because I'm not sometimes enough disciplined as I should, I'm struggling at the end with certain things. At the same time, I don't like to have to do everything at once, like in last 2-3 days before deadline. I'm not doing that. I always tell myself I'm gonna do much in advance, but because of this kind of easygoing, relaxed kind of mood I have, and this lack of discipline, in when you don't feel you're pressured, that's when I have problems with time management.
Awesome, thank you. Who has the first strategy that they use to help fix these problems?
Well, what I do, my strategy is that I always have a daily, weekly, and monthly program, where I write, I have a calendar and I always write what I have to do each day or what I'm planning to do, even if it is a personal thing, work thing, a date, or whatever. So that makes me cross it every day if I do it or not.
Absolutely. Awesome. So as we can see just from this brief activity that only took a minute, everybody does have their own processes that they use, even if we're doing it subconsciously and we're not thinking about it. So we're going to keep building on these throughout the rest of our presentation. But right now we're going to move to a management matrix that was created by best-selling author Stephen Covey. So in Stephen Covey's book titled The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which has sold over 25 million copies on every single continent of the world, he created what he calls his time management matrix. So it's on the screen here. If you take a look at it, you can see that it's divided into 4 main quadrants with urgent and non-urgent spread across the top. So when he takes a look at urgent activities, these are the things that are very important. They're important not only in personal, private, but any type of your area of your life. And then there's also non-urgent activities. So the urgent ones are the ones that need to be completed immediately, whereas non-urgent activities still may be important, but the deadline isn't coming up as quickly, so it can be pushed off a little bit more. Along the left-hand side, we have important and non-important. So important activities, these are the ones that they may be urgent or they may not be urgent, but no matter what, they're very important and you don't want to miss them. Counterpart to that is not important. So these are the ones that aren't really that important on whether or not you do it. So it still needs your attention, but it can be pushed off a little bit more. From there, he further breaks it down. You can see the letters that are written in red, and these are the numerical sequence that people should complete these activities in. So number 1, you can tell that it's urgent and important, so you have to do it right away because the deadline's coming up, and it's also very important, so whatever it is that you need to do, it holds a lot of weight. These are things like any crises that may be happening, pressing problems, deadline-driven problems, or also production problems if you're working in a factory setting. These are the ones that Covey describes you need to put your attention to first. Second, we have important but not urgent activities. So these are things like prevention, being proactive instead of reactive, as Adam mentioned earlier, relationship building, recognizing new opportunities, planning, recreation, staying fit is just as important, and production capability problems as well, once again referring to factory settings production. The third one that we're going to move to is the bottom left box here, and these are activities that are not important, but they are urgent. So the reason why he has them as number 3 here is because the last box is not important and not urgent, so those are the ones that can be pushed off until the very end. Trivia, busy work, some mail, some phone calls, those are the things that can be pushed off until the end because they don't carry a lot of weight, and also there's no real deadline for them, whereas the not important but urgent activities are things like any interruptions that may come up, so they're not as important as a crisis, for example, but they still do require your attention before time wasters, where he has in the not important and not urgent. And you can see the source that we got from the website on the bottom there. So now, what we will do is we'll just take a quick recap of the matrix here, and you can see when you look at it, it's not only practical, but it also makes sense if you take a look at the concept there. So I personally used this for the last 5 years. I read Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, in the first year of university. My professor made me read it, and even though it's about 350 pages, it's actually a really good read, and it helps out a lot, so we recommend it to everyone. Now that we've learned how to arrange the different tasks by level of importance, Adam is going to go over a number of time management techniques to help us learn how to overcome the challenges that we each face on a daily basis in different forms. Before he does, however, though, we'd like to hand out a brief sheet with some of the information that we've already covered in today's presentation. as well as a space on the sheet for you to take notes if you have any further notes that you want to. Later on we have a video and we'll continue on with some more information, so feel free to take notes. At the back of the handout is also all of the references that we use throughout the presentation, so you can cite any of those if you want to look at Brian Tracy's books, Stephen Covey's, or anything like that. You'll be able to find it through the references. Everyone has a handout? Okay, great. So now I'll pass it over to Adam.
Well, the best known time management technique is called a to-do list. It's basically a paper where you write the task you want to accomplish in a day and to finish in this day. Why to write it? Productivity is connected with the planning and organizing, and therefore the more precise you plan, the more effective your day will be. Well, it seems simple, the most people don't do it. The average manager has more than 200 tasks he wants to accomplish in a day. Also, it's good to mark your tasks like with numbers, 1 as the most important, 2 less important, and 3 not important at all. It is also good to it's good to write those plans 30 minutes before sleep or in the morning to have a better imagination of what you want to accomplish in a day. Also, visualizing this to-do list is also great because it doesn't make you think about what you want to do in a day, and can be very helpful. We hope that you got everything what we said and all the management techniques, and we hope that it will help you in the professional and also personal life.
Awesome. So up until this point, we've talked a lot about time management. We've gone over what time management as a concept is, why it's important, and how it can help you stand out in both your personal and professional lives to make sure that you succeed, as well as make you less stressed along the way. What we purposely left until the end, however, is how time management is so important to students. The University of Wisconsin's Tutoring Service Department describes a number of great resources for students to focus on in order to succeed in an academic environment. The U of W states that time management, quote, can make the difference between a mediocre and superior academic performance. We hope that what we've talked about so far has also instilled this mentality into you. But to close, here are a few areas of how time management does not only impact the academic areas of your life, but also the non-academic at the same time. So to start, it's extremely important to plan your semester very early on. It helps you know exactly what needs to be done for each one of your courses, and will make sure that you don't fall behind in whatever program you're studying. As we've learned so far in class, the British education system has very specific course learning objectives that we all have to adhere to, and some of these may be potentially new from the previous programs that we've studied. So taking this into account, we'll be able to use these time management strategies in order to look into the future and see exactly what it is that we need to hit to make sure that we do well in our program. As well, with the thesis component that is largely based on independent research under the supervision of a tutor throughout the upcoming summer months, it will be very important that each one of us use our own time management techniques to make sure that we don't fall behind and that we're able to finish the dissertation process successfully. So in conclusion, if we plan ahead, use proper time management techniques, and follow our plans, each and every one of us will be able to succeed academically and into our professional lives as well. Okay, so we have a brief video here. I'm just going to check the time. Yeah.
Take your time, it's okay.
Take the time? That's okay? Okay, great. So we'll watch a quick video, otherwise we're at 1850 right now. But we will, we purposely chose this video in case the sound didn't work, because everything is going to be written on the screens. And we do have sound. So here we go. Awesome. And that is
Created using Bowser.
the end of our presentation. So who has the first question?
Which technique do you personally use?
Yeah, I use the planner. So if it wasn't for Google Calendar, I'd be lost. So I make sure that I write everything, all the deadlines at the beginning of the semester, take it from the syllabus, add it in there, and then I know what comes up in the future. Adam?
I use also to-do list or
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah.
What was like your favorite part of the research? So like you have a ton of sources on your handout here.
Yeah.
So obviously you went through a lot of material, but
Yeah.
some techniques and theories had to stick with you more than others.
Yeah, in terms of the theory itself, for myself it was Covey's method. I've already looked into it, but actually we dove through the research a lot more behind it, so that is what stood out to me. And what I found most interesting is how there's a direct correlation between people who can effectively manage their time and those people getting promoted. I think we all want to be able to move up the corporate ladder once we start working and whatever it might be, and that was pretty interesting for me. Adam, I'm
Yeah,
not
as
sure.
already mentioned, I found interesting the book from Brian Tracy, Time Management. It's available on Bolton Library, so
I have a question. Which one do you find the most challenging